Assalamu alaikum. Yes, boys. So, today I wanted to talk about how speed is absolutely everything. If you're Muslim right now, there's a high chance that you're moving way too slow. Way too slow. I was talking to one of my boys who's also in the sales space, and we were actually speaking about how some people who have actually been in the sales space a lot less than we have in terms of time have actually been able to achieve a lot more in terms of just personal growth on social media, growth in in their businesses, setting up agencies, whatever it may be. And the biggest thing that actually stops people, and I know I like to use the word the biggest thing a lot, or the phrase, but it's actually your mindset. It's actually limiting beliefs where you feel like you are not capable enough, you are not experienced enough, you don't have what it takes. But these guys, they don't think, they just act. Some people have a natural tendency to bias towards action more. This has no say on their IQ. It doesn't mean that they are more capable, more intelligent, but they, either through the way they were brought up or whatever it may be, they have learnt that if they act and think later, that's going to serve them well than doing a load of thinking and then acting. Why? Because no matter how good you are, if you haven't done something, you literally cannot fully predict it, no matter how much data you have. Or in fact, I'd take that back. You only really get the full data when you actually do the thing. No matter how much theory you do, you will never learn the thing better than just doing it. And subhanAllah, like, this always brings me back to just being a Muslim in this entrepreneurial space, make money online, hit sales space. It's honestly, it all comes down to what's happening in here. If you believe truly with conviction that you are capable of doing anything, there is no reason in this dunya why you cannot do that, because you have Allah Azza wa Jal. And the thing is, I remember like 5-6 years ago watching videos just like this, and at the back of my mind there used to be this voice, right? I liked the video, it was nice, it was engaging, but there was a voice in the back of my mind which was always saying, this is all kind of wishy-washy, right? This is all kind of just, it sounds good, but like, what do you mean? Like, it's not really possible, I can't really do anything. And the thing is, subhanAllah, when I look at the most successful people, when I look at the people in my network, right, the people that I work with, and I'm talking about multi-millionaires, okay, and I'm talking about, these are people who are like upon the sunnah, alhamdulillah, like good Muslim brothers who don't compromise on their religion. I'm talking about those kind of people, because the thing is, we can emulate people who are non-Muslims and they don't have the same values as we do, but that isn't probably going to lead us in a good place, right? So I'm talking about Muslim brothers who stay strong upon their faith, who are high performers, right? High performers. And they just think way bigger than me and you do. That's the difference. They think way bigger than me and you do. They don't put limitations. I was speaking to, I guess you could say he's my sales manager, and I was having a really good conversation with him, and we were talking about how in this space of make money online and sales, there's a lot of financing issues and halal and haram and all of this kind of stuff. And I remember he told me that here in this company we don't think about what we can't do. We think about how can we get this done. Just think about that frame, right? Person A thinks, I can't do this because of X, right? That's his default frame. And this was mine for a long time. I'll be real with you. Like, this was my frame, and I still catch myself in there. And that's why it's really cool having conversations with high-level entrepreneurs, because they help unlock your limiting beliefs. You can't self-audit until somebody runs a discovery on you. That's what we call it in our sales team, right? Sometimes when we're having an issue with any problem in life, we'll just get another one of the sales guys to run a discovery on us, and just understand what our bottlenecks actually are, what's holding us back, how we're going to change our situation. See, sales is a hack. I'm telling you, boys, sales is a hack. Anyways, I was saying, you have person A who has the default to always be limited, or to always find the limitations and use that as a reason to not excel in life. Then you've got person B who understands that there are going to be obstacles, but his default frame of thinking is, how will I get this done? Not, I can't get this done because of X. How will I get this done? That frame of thinking completely changes your whole potential. And if you think about it, if you really think about the implications of that, that can change your whole bloodline. Because if you start thinking in a way where you are not limited, other than what Allah Azza wa Jal has limited for you, but if you think about it, Allah Azza wa Jal is capable of literally anything. If you ask a non-Muslim entrepreneur, he probably believes, okay, if something is possible by physics, then it's possible. So his belief system is stretched out very far. But then the Muslim's belief system should be, I don't care if it's even possible by physics, I can still do it by Allah Azza wa Jal's help, with Allah Azza wa Jal's help. Allah is the one who has done miracles before, right? Allah can do miracles. It's not difficult for Allah. Kun fayakun, He says it and it is. Subhanallah. Like, if we think about that, we are truly limitless as Muslims. And when I look at successful people, they always think bigger. They always have a how do I fix it mindset, rather than how, like, I can't do this mindset. Because if you truly deeped it, especially in this month of Ramadan, there is absolutely nothing impossible for Allah Azza wa Jal. So you're probably there watching this video, you might be working a job right now, you might be thinking, all these guys making money online, 10k, 20k a month, 30k a month, this is all, like, this is not even possible. And I can definitely not do that, because I don't know what it takes and I don't know how to do that. And most of these guys are probably scams. You can have that mindset, and there's no right or wrong answer. Just choose the life you want to live. You can have that mindset, or you can be like, okay, I'm making 2k a month right now. I'm seeing these guys saying they're making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50k a month. I know I don't believe everything online, but does it make sense for me to actually dedicate myself for some time to maybe commit to one skill and see if I can actually do this and put my foot in the door, actually commit to learning this? Again, no right or wrong answer. Which one do you think is actually going to serve you best? This is the biggest benefit of changing your environment, because I didn't have people like this before I entered the sales space. I was stuck around people who were all making the same kind of money, right? Average 9 to 5 salaried jobs. I remember thinking how, I remember at one point thinking, wow, like a 40, 50k salary, 60k salary, wow, like that's amazing. I just remember having that way of thinking and how much that felt in that moment. But it was because my environment, probably the people in my environment at the time who I was comparing myself to, had like 60k salary jobs, and I maybe had like a 25k salary job at the time. And now I'm subhanAllah, now I'm surrounded by people who make $1 million in a month. Do you know how crazy that is, subhanAllah? And I know a lot of you are probably watching this right now and probably thinking like, yeah, this guy is lying. And that's fine. That's fine. My job is not to convince anybody. But for those with an open mind, Genuinely think about it. Think about your beliefs. Think about how you think about the world and other people doing better than you. Do you look at them and then find reasons within yourself as to why you are not there? Because if you have been up until now, it might be worth switching up your strategy. And rather than thinking, I can't do this because he was born in this environment, I can't do this because his parents gave him love, I can't do this because I'm Muslim and I have to stick to like halal halal money, and therefore I'm always going to be less and he's always going to be more, and therefore what's the point anyways? Rather than thinking that way, I would challenge you to say, maybe it's time to switch up that approach and think, how will I get this done? If I had a gun to my head and all of my family was going to die if I did not make 10k a month in the next 3 months, 6 months, how am I going to get this done? Successful people just think bigger, and they also think faster. That was the original topic that I came into the video with. Limiting beliefs. We don't realize this, but limiting beliefs can be the difference between somebody who dies never having achieved anything good, never having saved his family, never being the person he could be, and actually achieving your full potential, leaving a mark in this dunya, leaving sadaqah jariyah, taking your parents to Hajj, like changing your whole situation and your bloodline. This here. And I am by no means saying that my beliefs are not limited at all. There are a lot of beliefs that I probably have right now that are limiting. And that's how I started the video really. I was talking about how other people in the sales space have progressed way further than I have. And what has separated me and them are our actions, our behaviors. But behaviors are often determined by our beliefs. What we believe about the world and about ourselves often dictates how we act. If you believe that you are not capable of having your own business, if that is a belief that you hold, it's quite likely that you won't be willing to do the behaviors of somebody who starts a business. That's probably what's held you back up until now. And often that's why when we're on sales calls, right, when we're talking about high ticket sales and being on sales calls and helping people overcome and take the step that they need to take to change their lives, what we're actually doing is removing a limitation on a belief that they have had, which has held them in their current situation, which is a painful situation that they need to get out of. And if we don't help them get out of their own way, they will stay in that situation forever. Because in the moment that you have that belief, you don't think it's a limiting belief. You think it's a legit belief. You actually believe it. That's why it's called a limiting belief. It's something you believe. Becoming more and more successful, being in the high ticket sales space, being around entrepreneurs, you realize that these people are just way more self-aware than the average person. Awareness is key. It's a skill. I believe it's truly a skill. It's something that you can learn and you can develop, because I feel like I've become way more self-aware when I've spent time around people who are, self-aware, who are more successful than I am. If there's one big hack of an advice that I would give to any young Muslim, right, in their early, in their 20s or 30s, or to be honest, any age, but I can speak to that age because, I'm kind of around that age. If you can get around successful Muslims who do not compromise their deen, I would do anything you can in your power to be around those people, because by Allah's tawfiq, it will change your life. It will change your life. Just like if you change your friend circle to be around people who worship Allah Azza wa Jal more, who do good and stay away from evil, it's quite likely that you will start to do more good and refrain from evil. If you start hanging around with people who are clubbing, smoking, drinking, doing a madness, your behaviors and your actions will change to that, because your beliefs around how bad those things are will change. Shaitan will make you believe that this thing is not so bad because all of these guys are doing it. We're just having a bit of fun. I'll change when I'm a bit older. Right now it's time. Like, these things will happen because your environment has brought you to them. The same happens when you spend time with Muslims who do not compromise on their religion, but they are absolutely smashing it in the dunya as well, in finances, in health, in relationships, in mental health, in knowledge. It completely shifts your own belief system. It just shakes everything. I remember when I first came into this space, right? I first joined my first sales program, and one of my sales coaches, I found out he was making like 30-40k a month, and I was like, it took me so long to even register that. I honestly couldn't. I remember thinking, how does a human make 30-40k? I remember thinking, like, the way I'm describing it, I'm not exaggerating. I remember thinking, because look, what I had heard up until that point was that people make like 100 grand a year salary. Like, that is top of the top, right? 125k salary. Whoa, doctors are making that. That's like 5k, 6k a month after taxes. I thought that was like the craziest thing ever. And then when I saw some guy who'd never, I don't think he's ever been to uni. Maybe he has, Allahu A'lam, but he never went down the conventional path of getting a job or whatever. Or maybe he did, but that's not what he does right now. I don't know what he did, but a young guy, right? I'm 28, he's, I believe, around 26, 27. I may be mistaken, but around that age. SubhanAllah, I was like, what? This doesn't even make sense. But then when you actually speak to them and you realize, wait, this guy's actually human. This guy's actually human. Like, he's good. Like, he knows what he's doing, but he isn't an alien. He's not got some kind of crazy ability that the average person doesn't have. It's the vehicle that he's chosen and the beliefs that he has that are different to mine, because his beliefs dictate his actions. He's taking different actions. And when you spend more and more time around these people, it makes you realize, number one, how slow you're moving currently. Number two, how limited you think. And number three, it opens your horizon to what can be achieved if you just unlock those limiting beliefs. But honestly, if you're in an environment where everybody around you, they're all making 3k a month, right? They're all making that 50k a year, and you don't change your digital or your physical or your social circle to be around some of those people who are making that kind of money, it's going to be so hard for you to unlock those limiting beliefs. It's going to be really difficult. It's going to be really, really difficult, because your environment is everything. So yeah, that's what I wanted to leave you boys with today. It's the month of Ramadan. I just wanted to leave by saying, keep me in your du'as, and this is a reminder to myself first and foremost, but we talk a lot about making money online and entrepreneurship and sales, all this kind of stuff, right? But the reality is the successful is the person who thinks for his akhirah, and these things can like draw you closer to the akhirah, but we need to take out time, and this is a reminder to myself firstly. I need to take out more time to ponder upon my true purpose, to take some time out, do ibadah, pray Quran, read Quran, all of those kind of things. This is the priority. This is the true meaning of success in life. And I want to leave with a reminder, which is that your intention is everything, right? إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. I believe Bukhari, that is how his book starts. It starts with إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, which is that your actions are according to intentions. Please don't quote me on this, I'm not a scholar, but I believe that's the case. He starts off with إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ as the hadith. And this is how we can use this to our advantage, which is that if we do what we do for the sake of Allah, for the sake of getting closer to Allah, if we want to be the best versions of ourselves so that we can get closer to Allah, that work in and of itself can become a form of worship. And so this is just some practical advice. I don't care if you're in a 9 to 5, I don't care if you're working in construction, I don't care if you work in a restaurant, I don't care if you don't even have a job right now, I don't care. Tomorrow when you wake up, or even tonight before sleeping, just think about what you are going to do tomorrow and how is one action going to get you closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. Whether it's going to work, let's say you're a doctor, whether it's going to work tomorrow and taking care of a patient with ihsan, genuinely doing it for the sake of helping the brother, and you're doing that to please Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah will reward you for that. And so that work can become a form of worship. Likewise, even if you're, even if you don't even have a job right now, let's say you're just taking care of your kids, how can you do it in a way where you can get closer to Allah? By looking after them well, by giving them good tarbiyah, whatever it may be. Just become aware of your actions and why you're doing them, and tie them back to Allah Azza wa Jal. Tie them back to doing them for the sake of Allah. Because the reality is, you're going to do them anyway. Having that awareness while doing it for the sake of Allah, is just going to give you extra brownie points in your book of good deeds. And especially in this month of Ramadan, when Allah Azza wa Jal has brought us into this month and we don't know if we're going to make it to next month, it makes sense to maximize the most out of the opportunity. So I'll leave you guys here. I just came back from Taraweeh, and yeah, inshallah I'll catch you on the next one, boys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.